Alright, the coffee will get delivered out to you and we'll get going. So, class discussion is next up. I'll let you read that for a little second. So that's what discussion is meant to be in a classroom. This is what it sometimes is. So we're basically going, if you're here now, how do you get to there? Alright, so hopefully I'm going to help you build this up. The first part is from Teach Like a Champion, the Glamov stuff that I've took. I added that to the walkthrough stuff, so made it a lot better for you. So habits of discussion, you've got these in front of you just now. Good skills are not actually, good discussion skills are not actually occurring in classrooms, so if you agreed with this one, I would agree with that. Habits of discussion need to be implemented in practice, just like everything that you want the pupils to learn. You can't assume that they know it. Discussion fundamentals, follow on prompting and sentence starters. So obviously speak loud enough, so when pupils are talking, in my own experience, they just mutter and it's very, can't hear it properly, or especially someone around the classroom can't hear it, so they need to encourage them to speak loud enough. Look at the speaker, so sometimes if the class is in rows, everyone's looking forward, someone's speaking in the back, but in this Teach Like a Champion book, and you look at the example videos, when someone's speaking, everyone's looking at them, that means they're engaged, alright? So rather than people looking out the window, if you can encourage the habit, if you want to do that, you encourage when someone's speaking, everyone is tracking the speaker, what it's called. They track it, that means they're all listening intently, as opposed to some looking at the window, some doodling or whatever. And use students' names, so we're building on discussion rather than just having people saying things. I agree with Stacey, I disagree, that was a great point made by Patrick. So it's an inclusive environment.
No one ever says that.
As well. Follow on prompting then. The teachers ask pupils to follow on from other pupils' answers using cold calls. So if you've been here before, you should know that we're trying to move towards cold call, which is an effective question and strategy that's tackling all pupils, making them all think. So if Audrey gave me an answer, I might ask Kat to follow on from that. And then I might go to Brian and say, you got anything to add to that? So they need to be listening around the classroom. As I said, Dennis, do you agree with Megan? Always listening, always ready. So if you've got cold call in your classroom or you've got class discussion, people's know it's a culture, they can't be switched off, but they're switched off and a question comes to you. But again, we try and with cold call, it's not a case of, oh look, Sharon's out the window, let's pick on her, or Shannon will know, let's pick on her, make her look stupid. It's not that. It's a case of you invite them to speak. It's not a case of, please tell me, and they're like caught in the headlight. It's, what's your thoughts on this? Approach it softly so they feel a calm environment to give an answer. Talk tactics then. So if you turn your page, you've got this in front of you. We're going to use this today when we have our discussions from me and Patrick's questions. But what I'd like us to do, we're going to practice ourselves just now, after this. You're going to try and use some of these phrases, as well as people's names, with clear voices and looking at the person. In the walkthroughs next, there's add, build, challenge, very similar to this. But again, if you want to improve class discussion, have this in front of the kids. It could be in their packs or it could be in their drawer. If you want to go that way, it's going to give them the sentence starter and the building blocks. So that's why I've given you this today if you want to take it away and keep it in photocopy or whatever, keep the electronic copy as well. That's just a notes page for you guys to take notes because the walkthroughs for the green book is not out yet. So any notes you want to take, you can take it on that or even your notes. So class discussion, how do we do it then? So the teacher sets the question and thinking time. Always a thinking time again. Dylan William found teachers waited around 0.9 seconds when they asked a question to when we wanted an answer. So just the more thinking time we give, the better. Just be conscious about it. ask the question, stand silently or nod your head or whatever. A couple of seconds, you go. Pairs, so we're going to go fight, pair, share, or turn to a partner first, because you can share your ideas with you and your partner, and you can build a bit of confidence in what you're saying. And then the teacher can come round and cold call. Right, so what have you two been saying? What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts? Do you agree? Hands up if I've missed something. Have I got any other ideas? So exploring people's other ideas if they've not been selected, they want to come forward. Add, build, or challenge. That's what's in front of you. Do you want to build on it? I agree with what Brian is saying, or I disagree with what Ashley actually said. I think this. Summarise. It could be the teacher's job. Number 5. Summarise and record. So Audrey, Dean, and Graham, you were agreed on this. Okay, that's fine. However, at that table, you disagreed on these points. So you kind of bring it to a closing point. You want to have a little read at that, just the benefit of why class discussion is. Okay. So, say the question. Purpose of thinking time. You've got your facts that you're looking for. You're looking for opinions. Today, are we looking for opinions or facts?
A bit of both, I think.
A bit of both. We want everyone thinking, engaged in it, all focused, thinking about what we're talking about, sharing our examples and learning from each other rather than just a one-way street. Teacher, out of the way. So making it clear here, let's think what can be done to stop global warming rather than what can be done to stop global warming, and then you get your usual 2 kids, shout out, and just, so tell them, front loading, think first, answer second. What do we think about? Thanks, you always make great art. So it's just, tell the kids you want them to think first, rather than why do you want to stop global warming? Think too late. The answer's already there. Just take that first thing. Maybe the first idea might not be the best idea. Have we think for 10 seconds? Right, there's a better idea. I can share that. Again, pairs first. We can go over that. How you can make that better. More fluent. Pairs, so they're more inclusive. We can have a chat. As I said, mix up cold calling. So I went over this. Cold calling and hands up. Start the cold calling, then again, you can open it further. Deal. Who else has got an opinion on this, or what did you? Anyone else think anything different? Add, build, a challenge. That's kind of what it says. We'll continue on, but this sheet will help us today with that. Summarise and record. So some people are saying this, some of you are saying this, there's a disagreement over this. We all agreed on that. Summarise what they're saying. And what's the key points. Right? Simple enough, and I hope the things that might have been a bit more challenging for you, the habits can help that beforehand, and then the talk tactics can also be on cue for today's discussion. Alright? Again, this is just why we use it. So again, you are wanting to improve it in your class. I'm about to start the question time just now, but before that, you'd obviously build in the habits, go through. But again, you've got to reinforce these habits while you're doing it. So the habit of a strong voice, track the speaker, this needs reinforced throughout, because we do it and then it starts off with a loud voice, but then goes into this quiet voice, then we've just got to go, right, we need your loud voice. So you ask the question, you give wait time, and then you say, in your pairs, the person closest to the door, or the person closest to the cafe, or whatever, make it clear, and the person to my right hand side or whatever can speak first. They discuss it, you've got 45 seconds, 30 seconds, depending on the question size and stuff. Put a time limit on it rather than leaving it bubble over for 2 minutes, because make it punchy, so they're going to be long enough for them to speak about it, not long enough for them to go, right, answer's done, what are you doing at the weekend? That just changes the dynamic. And then cold call, what you's thinking, what you's thinking. If Brian and Ashley go first, if you go next, I'd like you to use the word, the top tactics in front of you. I agree with Brian because mention a bit of acknowledgement at his point or their point, and then give yours. So it's not just 10 statements going around the room, it's a conversation. Interestingly, Brian raised a point about this, however, we were discussing and we think this. See the way it connects? And then you can maybe go back to, I actually agreed with Brian's point, however I disagreed with this point. We're not going to get to the last person who've got to agree and disagree with everybody. Maybe just acknowledge one or 1 for 2 before, depending on your point. Alright? I don't know how this is going to go, but just you don't want to sit and just say, I disagreed with Graham's, I agreed with yours, I'll just take too long. But if you just keep the conversation going, if they can further the points or disagree. Right, so the question in a second is going to come on the board. We'll have 10 minutes, 10 seconds to think about it, and then you and your partner can discuss it, or a trio, whatever you like just now, whatever you are in, whatever's most best for you. The people who are closest to the cafe can talk first, and after that we can then cold call around the room, and once if we feel that we're done, we can do a show of hands. If anyone wants to share anything else, if we don't get to you in that time, I'll do it, then Patrick can take over. Alright? We've went with topics, and we're going to get people thinking. Might thought went into these, but crap. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get you talking anyway. So, question 1.
I had a biscuit-based one as well, then I'm going to change my question now. Hot chocolate for anyone? What was that? Hot chocolate.
With your partners, you can discuss.
You say, sorry, I don't think the music make eye
Right. Okay. Let's get talking. So, I will now speak to one group. They'll share their thoughts, and then we can have the talk tactics. Do you agree with the person's name? If you don't know the person's name, I agree with that, male or female or whatever, just because some staff are new, that's fine. However, do you agree, disagree, and why? And then we'll bounce round the room. Audrey, you can start. No, just share about your group. If you agree or disagree, I know it might be your opinion, just give me yours or your group.
We kind of disagree.
Right, why?
It's something.
Bit dry. Right, okay. Follow on, do you agree or disagree with that, this group here?
We disagree, well, Peter and I disagree. We actually felt that a chocolate hobnob, from my point of view, is top tier. Chocolate digestive is left behind, you know. And Peter said Kit Kat, he was on the same sort of level, you know.
However, is a Kit Kat a biscuit or a
And
chocolate?
then we got into that discussion. You know. And then we went Kit Kat Chunkies as well, so it opened all kind of
It
worms.
went
Or
anywhere,
biscuits.
to be fair, in conversation.
So there's a lot of points we got fired at us there. Hard to keep up. Darren's group, do you agree or disagree with any of them? Or do you want to build or any of that?
Well, we tend to agree with Brian in the sense that chocolate digestives is maybe not the best biscuit, because I feel like they're the gold bar, you know. And then Roz, like you said, that can throw people one way or another. And then we kind of started to go down the old age debate of Jaffa cakes.
But then I disagree with Audrey. How can a chocolate digestive make your mouth dry?
Get a cup of tea.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Why would you be eating a biscuit without a cup of tea or a coffee? How do you
Also
get a
not
dry
wanting
mouth?
fights or arguments during this. Be wise about what you're talking about. Right, the last one, just on this one, this group, for what's been said by anyone, do you agree or disagree with anyone?
I don't know. I think maybe no one said that they thought it was actually the best biscuit, and we actually thought it was the best biscuit.
Right, okay.
I didn't know Kit Kats were in the run-in. Now we have to change our opinion.
Yeah,
Wait,
right.
Jaffa
Say a
cakes?
gold bar.
Cake or biscuit?
Cake.
Biscuit.
No, it's a cake.
That was
You
meant to
bake
be
it on the
question.
bake-off.
Biscuit, cake, other ones have flew out what they are. So, yes. Sorry, just quickly, Kirsten, what did he say there?
I don't know if I was too busy talking about
Oh,
shortbread.
sorry, yeah, you'll have to say that again because Kirsten was talking about something.
Empire biscuit. Right, we
Oh, we could
Nobody
put
mentioned
Empire
Empire
biscuit
biscuit.
on. Oh,
Oh, no, that's not.
especially for the cats.
So they were talking about Empire biscuits.
So, I hope in your own subjects there wouldn't be so many different answers. There'd be a good few, but not this many. So it's quite hard to summarise, but there's loads from like a range of biscuits. Do you want to go on to your next question?
I'll do this very quickly because I'm conscious of our time. Stephen asked me if I got any non-controversial, controversial ideas. Ruined my day yesterday. I was like, I've got lots. So I was going to go with the films of Tom Hanks are overrated, which is clearly true. But we'll stay on the film theme. And what I would just maybe ask you to do in your groups is to have a think about these things. So if somebody, I know there's like groups of 2 and groups of 3, but we double up roles. Somebody takes on the role of instigator, uses some of this language. Somebody else can be identified as the builder, tries to use some of this language and challenger and so on. Okay, and just quickly try and you get familiar maybe with using some of those terms within your groups. The question is, or the statements, we're looking for opinions. So Stephen asked opinions or fact. This is very much an opinion question, so you're giving your opinion and using evidence to support that opinion. Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie. Discuss. Die Hard 1. Die Hard 1 is great.
Americano, anybody?
Did somebody order an Americano and they didn't get it yet?
I will challenge and so many things. And I would say that
So you're familiar with that certain elements of it, and then for this group.
He's definitely challenging us.
Like chasing a guy about
Ignoring you.
So overall, the main points are it's not Harry Potter. It's not Christopher.
Okay, guys, it's almost 1 o'clock, so if I pause people for a second, I realise I've been severely aged by that question as younger members of staff going, I've never heard of Die Hard. What's Die Hard? Okay. If you haven't heard of Die Hard, I mean to say Die Hard is the greatest Christmas film, so that is the correct answer. And you should watch it this Christmas. And Die Hard 2 is a close second.
I disagree with you.
That's what I want. Okay, and because you've spoken up, Kirsten, I'm going to choose your group to model the conversation. Thank you for volunteering. So,
Do you want an
can
exact
please,
replica of what we discussed?
more or less, if one person can be sort of identified as the instigator, try and use this language and have that discussion, and we'll see how this goes. Let our cameraman get in place. There you are. Okay, lights, camera.
I would like to start by saying that there is much more Christmas films out there that are better, so I don't think that's the best Christmas film.
I agree, and would like to add that it's set in winter. Yes, there's a Christmas tree. There is a family theme, but it's an action movie. End of story. Set in winter. Set in winter.
Challenge, please.
I mean, it could also be argued that next like me that Die Hard's actually a Harry Potter film with Alan Rickman chasing about throughout the year.
That's just how you're going.
I might need to park that idea for a little bit and come back to maybe a sort of the broader theme of Christmas. Would you disagree with the point that Roz made that just because it's set at Christmas doesn't mean it's a Christmas film?
But you see, you talked about Die Hard being the greatest Christmas film. I was trying to get to that point, but you cut me off there, Mr. Clark.
My apologies, Mr. Young. Please continue.
You know, it's set at Christmas as well. Alan Rickman chases Harry Potter through the corridors at Christmas, so therefore that's what I'm saying. It could be a Christmas film. I'm not disagreeing, but you know.
Okay, thank you very much. And then summary of those main points.
It's a film set in winter that has a Christmas tree in it. It's an action film. There is a family theme. It's not a Christmas movie.
Okay, and I would add to the points of the main discussion around that is that we need to maybe explore a bit further in future discussions what it means to be a Christmas film, because I would disagree with you and argue that because it is set at Christmas time, the fact that it is an action film, the themes are superfluous to that. It is a Christmas film. It is set at Christmas. It makes one feel Christmassy when you watch it. It's on TV at Christmas time. And it's fabulous. You guys should watch it.
I would disagree with you because you're
Hold on,
wrong.
your roll's over. Okay. That was the summarizer. Okay. And yeah, so I think
we
will
need to
finish with.
explore further.
I think you're trying to sort of use this language and promote that type of discussion. Having that up on the board behind is a useful way to sort of generate a more effective discussion and setting the parameters. So please, have a look at it and have a think about it next time you are having a class discussion, using those cold calling tactics to make sure that everyone is thinking about and is engaged in the topic and is always sort of in danger of having to think and participate in your class. Anything else you want?
It's all right.
Until next time.
Yippee-ki-yay!
I was going to, but I don't remember I can swear.
Does it swear the first film though?